Hey guys, and welcome back to our Road to FM series. I just finished probably the most craziest tournament I've had. The biggest roller coaster of emotions since I was probably like 8 years old in a chess tournament. Honestly, it was absolutely crazy. Um, Overall, you look at it, TLDR, you might think, oh, yeah, we came second. We gained, 6 or 7 FIDE points, but that doesn't tell you the what actually happened in the games, which were just absolutely crazy. Um, Essentially, we won games we should have lost. We lost games we should have won. Um, and honestly, there were certain points in the tournament, like in round six, where I was actually at the board. I was for the first time in like, I don't know, 20 years. I was actually depressed at the board. I was just like, what am I even doing here? I was like, because I think I was on 3.5 out of 5 in the slow play FIDE tournament there, and I was just in a lost position against a CM from France, and it's almost resignable, and I'm like, oh, I'd be on 3.5 out of 6, I'd lose, whatever, however many FIDE points, even if I won my last game, which I might not do because I'd be up against probably an underrated junior in the chasing pack, and somehow we managed to win that one. Then we won the next game, and suddenly we're second, and we're gaining like 7 FIDE points. It's just it's absolutely crazy. And the reverse of that is when we were in the hunt for first, we managed to turn an ending that I thought at the board was completely winning for me. Turns out it's not. It's equal, which shows you my level of endings, which is what I need to work on. Um, so I was playing here Patel. He's a very improving junior. I seem to play him every single year at a different tournament, and every single year he's gained like 100 more FIDE points. He's getting better, better, and better. I'll probably play him this time next year and he'll be like 2,200, and then the year after 2,300. But yeah, I evaluated this position here as just a winning for me, or yeah, but it's not. It's drawn, and I somehow had to lose it, which cost me first. Absolutely crazy. So it was in the Southend on Sea, lovely location, and you've got the lovely beaches, you've got all the amusement parks. Didn't really have time to do too much outside of the chess because it's 2 rounds a day, and I had the rapid play. The rapid play, another craziness. Somehow I'm on 4 out of 4, beat an FM, lose the next two against players 200 points lower than me. Um, and both games I was better in, and then went from better to drawn, and then pushed for the win or something. I don't even know what I was doing. So yeah, it was just a craziness. It was a well-run event, lovely people there. All the yeah, that's another thing to say. Sometimes when you're at a chess tournament, when you're dealing with players around you, um, it's so much better when they're all kind of sound and cool people, So in in the tournament I played in the rapid play, you had thick ass, you had a lot of players. Simeon, Bott, who I played in the slow play tournament. You never met these people much before, and they're all very sound guys. Wish them well. And it just makes the tournament much nicer to play when you get on with the people there. Um, so yeah, overall, yeah, we did well. It seems like we gained some points in the slow play, lost a few points in the rapid play, but the slow play is what matters for FIDE titles, so that's good. Um, well done to Alistair Hill, who won the FIDE Open. I think he gets the British main place. So well done to him. There was also GM Norm tournaments where you had all the strongest players in, and well done to the two people who got IM Norms. So it was a GM Norm for one, actually. So I think Alex Golding got GM Norm. So well done to him. So yeah, a really nice, well-run event. And I think all the games are really topsy-turvy, yeah? So I don't think there was a single game, probably of the seven, maybe my last game, actually, round seven of the, Open was the only one that I'd say out of all of them that didn't look like I was in danger of not winning. But um, yeah, every game was just topsy-turvy in all the tournaments, and it was just such a roller coaster. I was just like, you know, uh, round six, I was feeling for the first time in ages depressed at the board. because I was in a lost position against a CM from France, and having, as you'll see, made the mistake against Patel earlier in the tournament, I was like, I was going to lose all these points. And yeah, it turned around. It was turned around. But yeah, these things happen. Um, yeah, let's look at the games. They're very interesting, actually. I'll try and explain them as best I can. Also, again, I'd just like to say thank you again to getting to the 500 subscriber milestone. Cheers to you guys. You're amazing. Legends. So let's start with the main event, the FIDE Open that we played. So as you can see, we're sort of joint third seed with Alistair Hill. We've got reasonably strong lineup. Got an IM there, Richard Bates, and we're up against a junior who's only 1879. So my thoughts were, let's go into the Catalan and try and just get into a position against a pretty strong junior that he won't know as well as us, and we can maybe outplay him if he doesn't know the positions very well. I think, in hindsight, as someone that likes openings, it's not very smart of me because, like, I kind of played something really goofy here, and I just don't think it's very good. And he ended up doing the complete opposite of what I wanted. It gave him the complete advantage. He played well because obviously he's a naturally good player. He's only, I don't know how old he is actually. So he's Rastogi, Nayan, Keats. He's from, it says Eton College. So he's quite young, from quite a posh school, I guess. And he's probably got a lot of coaching. He's probably going to be a lot higher when he's older. And yeah, it'd be much smarter, I think, when you're playing a player who's like this to actually go into the main lines maybe. So here, there's a game in the Masters database actually, but it's no great shakes. So really I should castle here, I think. If I castle here, I'm probably just got a normal equal position, but I wanted to do something a bit goofy, a bit crazy, get him out of his prep. But the truth is, he's quite young. How much prep has he really? How much prep has he really done in the Catalan? Probably like none. So this goofy thing is just bad for me. I'm already minus 0.3. The engine wants me to just take on g6 straight away, I guess. And instead, I play what is just an absolute. When I played it, I realized just how bad it was. I played bishop g5 here. Yeah, so bishop g5. My idea is, just to try and get into a situation where we take on g6, and then push through at some point e4. So let's say he played, I don't know, knight d7 or bishop e7 here. Obviously, he's not going to play h6 because then I'll take on g6 and the structure will be very bad. So I'm hoping he plays something passive, or not, which is still fine, but like this, and then suddenly we can maybe consider knight d2 and go for e4. But I'm guessing the engine probably still thinks he's okay here. Yeah, it's still not great for me. Yeah, the idea anyway for me at the board was to play something like this, push through at some point e4. And the main idea, I guess, is that if he ever wants to get rid of this bishop on g5, he plays h6, and I'm just going to take on g6, and I'm going to be much better then. But the problem is here, I realized when I played it that he doesn't have to play h6 ever. He can either play c5, which he did, which is the best move. So it shows he has a really good intuition here. I was looking at this at the board and I was worried he was going to play it. Bishop h5, which is my kind of move. I love it. It's really provocative. It's saying, sure, play g4 if you like. But it works because if I play g4 would be a massive error because of h6 here. So if you have a look at this, -2 already. So the main point is it's knight on h4. This knight h4 is so weak, so weak. It's almost trapped itself. You know, can't even move anywhere. And if I ever take an f6, the queen's going to be going on this knight. So it's I really like bishop h5, but c5 is the best move. And he's already the equivalent of a pawn up. Yeah. So I took on g6. I think mainly because I was worried about. I don't know if I need to play this, but yeah. Maybe I should just castle here and just accept I'm worse. It takes. And c3. Really passive move. The main problem I have here is that he doesn't really have to worry about this knight on f6. It does. My move of bishop g5, you know, it's like, what's the purpose of it? I mean, if he moves the queen to b6 or something, am I really going to take on f6? I mean, you can just go g takes f6, and yeah, he'll have this bishop come out to like h6 on this lovely diagonal. It's really like a paper tiger sort of move. It's like has absolutely no real strength. So this game, I think I'm probably playing the worst. I don't know whether it's because I was tired, because I just basically the day before I travelled to Southend, which took like 3 hours to play in the rapid play, and I had to start the day really early to get in time for the rapid play. So I'd been travelling with the train, all this bejazzle, and I think it showed because at the end of rounds of the rapid play, I was quite tired. And I played this game, and I played this very goofy moves. And I think it was a bad idea. I think I should have probably skipped the rapid play and focused on this, or come an extra day early on the Wednesday. And yeah, but then that would have been an extra day cost of, you know, hotel and stuff. Yeah, it's always one of the tricky things when you're playing these sort of tournaments. Like, when do you actually arrive to play your best chess? You know, do you arrive a day early? Do you commute in? Do you leave yourself lots of time, but then maybe make yourself tired? It's all contributes, because you really want to, when you go to these tournaments, you really want to play your best chess. You want to be like, you want to play as high accuracy as you can, and give yourself the best chance to do well. Because, you know, one thing you can do is you can also maybe take a half point bye in the first round, make it a bit leisurely to get there. But for some reason, I just wanted to play everything. Maybe shouldn't have done that. I think I'll learn from it. So I play c3, which is, and I already at the board, I'm kind of worried here. I know. My spider sense from online blitz and bullet knows that this position is not going to hold very well, because this pawn on d4 is going to be incredibly weak. So essentially, I mean, if he just goes knight c6, queen d6, and just pressurize this pawn, how am I really going to stop him? Because e3 tends to run into e5 as well. It's like, I'm going to have to be very careful here. So knight c6, great move. He's just better. I take on f6, which is wrong. Which is wrong again. So here, he wants me to actually go back to e3 and play bishop e3. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Just trying to protect d4, and if queen b6, maybe queen b3. But again, we are just worse there. But yeah, I took on f6, takes an f6, and he's -2. So I'm in round one against as white, and I'm playing someone who's nearly 300 points lower than me, and within the first 10 moves, I'm I'm -2, and I'm getting absolutely destroyed. I'm not destroyed because I've made one error. I'm destroyed because I played multiple inaccuracies. Look, bishop g5 was a mistake. Bishop takes f6 was a mistake. I'm just being outplayed here. So I really need to play well here to survive. e3. Yeah, very passive. I was actually worried about e5, not what he played. He played bishop. He played takes, but see, I was worried he could just try e5. But yeah, maybe I'm wrong. But at the board, this looked really scary for me. I thought he could just play bishop d6, castle queenside, and get a nice attack. But yeah, in the game, he sort of went for this takes, and bishop d6, which, is just a nice development. And he has this nice tactic. Rook takes h2, bishop takes g3. So that would win 2 pawns because he'd get the rook back because of check on the king. And that made me kind of a bit worried because I want to play, in an ideal world, I'd just play f4 here, which I think I did actually. And, if he plays passive here, let's say castles queen's side or king's side, or even king e7. But if he plays any of these moves with his king, or I don't know, a non-move like a6 or a5, suddenly I'm good. Suddenly I'm happy. I'm probably even equal because I can just get my knight in. I can go knight d2, knight to f3, and maybe even get my knight to e5, and I'm good again. I'm back in the game. Maybe I can even outplay him. But g5, and I actually thought at the board I'm lost now. I was like, done. What am I doing? Because I realised that this pawn on d4 is just dropping if I take back here. So if I don't do anything here, let's say I play knight c3 or something, he can just take this, yeah? And if I go g takes, he can go queen h4, check. And in this position, what do I do really? Takes, check, and this is just nasty. It's way better. And if I do this, I'm just a pawn down for nothing, really. Maybe, no, it doesn't do anything. Yeah, so this is just nasty for me. So I need to find a move here. In the game, I played queen b3. I'm just trying to spice it up a bit. My idea is that if he goes for tactics, like g takes f4, maybe then I'm okay. Maybe. But actually, queen b3 maybe even is a mistake because he can just go. He can play g takes f4. Wow. So let's have a look at this. G takes f4. Queen takes b7. Castles. Wow, this is next level. So he can actually just do this. And wow. And he doesn't even have to mind about. Let's have a look at this. Takes. So he just sacks a piece. And apparently I'm not surviving this at all. So yeah, he's just crushing me. So my whole concept of queen b3 doesn't even work. So he can just ignore the pawn on b7. He can even sack the knight on c6 afterwards. And he can just take it. So queen b3, another mistake. So that's like 3 mistakes in the first 10 moves. Not very good, is it? Yeah, it's going to be hard to get to FM if I'm playing moves like this. But he played rook b8. And so my next move, I think, was always going to be knight d2 or knight c3. But he actually, I kid you not, in this position, he offered me a draw. And I was like, draw, you say? Sure, I'll agree a draw here. Yeah, in this completely lost position, I'll agree a draw. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think maybe, for his point of view, I guess he's thinking I'm 300 points higher. So maybe he's thinking I've got a good position, but I'll be devastated if I manage to lose it. Maybe that's his reasoning, and he just wants to consolidate because he's so young. He has a high K factor. So, whereas for me, I lose about 5 FIDE points for winning it, for drawing this, but he'll gain like 12 or 10 or something because his K factor is higher. So, yeah, but I definitely think he should play on here objectively because, after the game, we chatted a little bit. It was hard because obviously there's 2 rounds a day, so it's like people go for lunch and stuff like that because there's not much time between rounds. But from the little we were able to chat, he was very friendly, and he was like, "Oh, I didn't think I was that much better because I thought you were going to play knight c3, and then I was going to play bishop b4." And I remember thinking, Bishop b4 here. Really? I was like, why would you play bishop b4? Can't you just take on f4 and be winning? And he was like, oh no, I'd never play. He actually said, oh, I'd never play g takes f4 here. It's too weakening. It's like, weakening? And I was like, okay. Okay then. I was like, can you just play g takes f4, g5 and stuff? And he was like, no, that'd be too, I don't want my king exposed. And he was like, but for me, in my head, I'm thinking that that's almost lost for me. I think the engine agrees. So in this position where we agree to draw, I might not play knight c3. I might play knight d2, I think. And I think I was scared of this move. And I thought I was close to lost here, honestly. I thought, look at this. Maybe, I think in my own calculations, queen h4, king f1. Yeah, that's sort of what I was thinking. But g5, yeah. So yeah. Sorry if you can, by the way, if you can hear some background noise there, it's whenever I put the engine on it, for some reason it uses up a lot of resources. Yeah, I think this is nasty for me, but he said he's not going to play g5 because it's too weakening. So if he doesn't play g5 here, maybe I'm okay. Because if he's not going to play g5 here and he plays something like, I don't know, king e7, so he probably wouldn't play king e7 if he's worried about, I don't know what he's going to play other than that. So let's say he plays bishop b4. Yeah, he's still a lot better. Still a lot better. So, yeah, so we got away with one in that game, I think. It's fair to say. We got away with one, that one. You know, very good player, very young, strong, but offered a draw a bit too early, which is something I do also. Wow. Yeah, I actually think I played this tournament last year and I did a similar thing, actually. I actually think I was playing against the second, or no, sorry, the Robert Ames, the FM here, on board 5, and I actually had a position that was like nearly +5 for me, and I offered a draw in time trouble last year. Yeah, it happens, you know. Sometimes you see problems in your position that aren't there at the board because maybe you're giving too much respect to your opponent or something like that, and you're worried that you're going to make a mistake, which in my case can happen easily. Yeah, but anyway, so we got to draw that game, which was kind of important, and we didn't lose that, I think, because it gave us the sort of the roadmap for pushing with the whole next few rounds to come second. Yeah, so next game we're up against Nick Myall, who is like the complete opposite of my previous opponent in the sense that he's very active in senior chess. He's a veteran player. He's a 1900, so he's slightly higher than my previous opponent. And we're black here. Should we flip the board? There we go. Remember what I said to you guys about how like there was 2 rounds a day? This kind of helped me here because I feel like the check perk is, this is my favorite little pet line. And here, I feel it's 100% more effective against players that don't prepare against it. If your opponent doesn't know you're going to play the check perk, I mean, I still would play it against someone that did prepare against it, but it gives you more chance. It gives you, I'd say, more chances of winning early and getting a really nice opening position if your opponent doesn't know you're going to play it. And because of the fact that we just played round 1, I felt like the check perk was going to be a good choice because there wasn't really enough time for someone to prepare something really good here. And interestingly, he had a game in the check perk less than a year ago against an IM, Chris Baker, I think, in one of the senior tournaments he plays. and they had a exciting draw. And we actually followed the same game for a bit. Now, people who know this channel know me will know that my only popular videos in this channel are on the Czech perk. I love it, and it's my popular video. I've got a playlist on it, and I'm going to be expanding it, making more videos on the Czech perk. And yeah, this position here, whenever Mamedarov or any of the top grandmasters play the Czech perk, they get this position. This is like the sort of, this is the equivalent of, I don't know, the main line of the Roy Lopez at move 8 or something. This is like the main Tabia. It's like where, and I'm kind of happy to play this position against most players, especially against this guy, because I felt like this guy, his main Achilles heel against me would be if he tactically mucks up. So I felt like if he got a drawn ending against me, he might even win it, or he might draw it, yeah? Because I felt like he's very principled, he's got good endings. I saw that I quickly skimmed his game against Chris Baker, but he seems to be quite a solid player, quite principled, but because he's played f4, which is like the main line against Czech perk for an advantage, and it's kind of aggressive though. You can easily, I know this because I've played against the Czech perk lots in Blitz and Bullet as well, and I've lost games even in slow play as white here. I think I lost to Jack Rudd, who's an IM from England, a couple of years ago, and yeah, even in my own opening, because it's so complicated. It's like the engine can say plus 0.8, it can say whatever, but look at this structure here. This is not this structure. Is gonna, one move can lose you the game or win you the game, and if you know the positions well, you're going to be the one that doesn't make the mistake. And what more can you ask for when you're playing someone he's 200 points lower than me? Oh, by the way, in the other games, it was interesting because a lot of shock results. Yeah. So he plays Queen D2. Now, personally speaking, I thought Queen D2 is a slight inaccuracy. It's not necessary. The computer thinks it's fine, but for me personally, why would you allow Bishop takes F3 here? I'm not saying it loses or anything, but for me, I think it's far stronger here to either play H3 or castles. And castles is the main grandmaster move on the Masters database. So you've got games by Krasenkower's black, and you've got games by, so this game is reached quite a lot. But Queen D2, I don't know. I like the idea of just taking here. I probably should have done that. I played Bishop E7 anyway. So I was actually kind of hoping that my opponent might be a bit too overconfident here and maybe play like a move like H3. Now, if White plays H3 here, then we can take, and we're probably quite a bit better. Because if we take here, takes, this structure, not very nice. I can make a knight H5, Bishop H4 check. And if he castles, say there, we can take this off. There's lots of traps. To give you an idea of the traps, right? Let's say he castles here. Takes. I'm pretty sure I've had this. I think I've won quite a few bullet and blitz games with this sort of tactic on the diagonal. It's quite nice. So yeah, H3 would be a serious positional mistake, which I'm trying to tempt. But he doesn't. He castles, which is the best move. And when he did that, I actually thought to myself, what an idiot I was. Because I realized when he castled, I was like, I didn't really take advantage of Queen D2. So I should have taken on F3 straight away. So instead, we sort of transpose to one of the lines. So I take here. Now, the reason I'm taking now is because I'm sort of admitting that I've kind of failed, and I'm going to just go for knight g4. So if he goes rook takes, knight g4, then we've got this bishop. And I think we're holding here. Yeah, it's about 0.3, but we're fine. The only issue in this sort of position is that we've kind of traded quite a lot of pieces, and it's going to be quite hard as black here to outplay a decent opponent. And he's, I've seen him. He's quite a solid player. He's not going to make any massive blunder here, I don't think. But thankfully for me, when G takes F3, and suddenly I'm a little bit more confident because I've always got play now. Even if objectively he's still doing well, so he's 0.9. This open G file, or not open, semi-open, it's going to provide me some play, and I can move my knight in at some point. So yeah, you go knight h5, takes. So here he made a mistake straight away, but so this is quite a complicated position. It's quite easy. Quite easy to make a mistake. I could easily make a mistake here as white. I think most players can. I'm guessing f5 would be the natural move. Wow, so b4. So he has to play very actively to get any sort of advantage here. So he likes something like this, and he thinks, tiny edge for white. But after this, his advantage is gone. And I actually prefer, I know it says 0.4 here, but I prefer black here. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm going to disagree with the computer because these two bishops are not easy to play with in an overboard game. So practically speaking, what are you going to do with these bishops? My knights are really nicely placed to hop in, and my bishop's very easy to play. I've got quite a nice choice. I can castle or castle. I quite like this position as black. And he makes a blunder. And he actually, like we said about the bishops, he knows this bishop on d3 is rubbish. He's probably a bit wary that this rook at some point could come to d8 and do something. So he wants to improve the bishop, which, if you look at most trainers, they'd say, trying to improve, when is your king safe, try to improve your worst placed piece. What's his worst placed piece here? His bishop on d3. So he basically does the most principled thing, but tactically it's not the best because after we takes, knight e5, and these knights are working in nice harmony, and we've got a rook can come to d8 at some point, I think. And he has some tactical issues now, which he has to be very careful of. And do you know that I'm always open in a check perk to finding tactical ideas. So already in my head, I'm thinking of ideas like rook takes d4 here. Even though my rook's not on d8 yet, I'm already thinking of ways my rook can take d4 and then my bishop can go to c5 and pin the queen to it. Because this is the sort of thing that can easily happen. So let's say bishop b3, castles like this. And he's getting smacked. He's actually losing this, actually. Well, I'm shocked it's so high, but I'm guessing c5's coming. So he plays takes, king h, knight e2, bishop d6. So French just take on h2. Knight c3 is a mistake. So this bishop, castle queenside, king h1, knight f4, queen f2, bishop c5, and it's already losing for white, I think. So the rooks come to d2 if we can. We've got some checkmate ideas with queen g5 to g2. So here I think I should have played this, but I went for this h2 idea for checkmate net. But objectively, I think this is just lost for white. It's quite easy to play this position. Like, I was expecting queen g3 here, which gets this quite nice checkmate. King's trapped. Rook d2 takes, and bishop e3. So white just lost here, obviously. There's no real way to stop this. Queen just comes to g2 if he moves out. Tries, got to do something to stop the queen being lost, so he plays h4. So the idea of I take this, you take the queen. It doesn't really work. It's queen c5. Gonna take this bishop. Yeah. Knight a4 takes. So here the problem he has is he can't really defend his bishop. Right, so can't go here, can't go there. So if he goes something like this, take this. He tries to get an attack going, but I have to take it and take an f1. So yeah, he resigned here. Yeah, that I think this game showed that what the check back can do to an opponent. You know, we got a position that was unclear, slightly better for him, but he managed to misplay it. So that shows how effective it can be. That put us in a good position for round 3 the next day. So winning that one put us in a really strong position for round 3, which is on the next day, on the Saturday. And we're up against Simeon Bott, who had an incredible tournament. I didn't know anything about him going into the round, really, so I didn't know how good he was. So we look here. He actually gained over 110 points in the tournament. So he'll be around 2150 the next list. And he actually came third in the tournament, so I didn't realise that at the time, but it's a really tough game for us here. I decided after the round 1, so we're on 1.5 out of 2. But we're on board 2 now, so not many people were winning every game in this tournament because so many good players. So a lot of the IMs had already lost points, and yeah, so even on 1.5 out of 2, we're in, second place. So this is an important game for us. And after the disaster that was round 1, in terms of that goofy opening move, I was determined to play main lines. But my opponent, I didn't really know anything about him, really. It turns out, he's quite a strong player online. Yeah, he's a good player. So I did notice, actually, when I saw he had a couple of games from the database, and also a few games online where he nearly always plays e5 here, which I'm kind of happy with, because I feel like I didn't really know his strength, but I knew that I needed to try and play for the win. And a reverse Sicilian, where you're a tempo up, can't be too bad. The only problem is, if he knows what he's doing, he can probably get nearly an equal ending. Not an equal ending, sorry, equal middle game. But it's not so clear, and even in equal positions, we're a tempo up in a Sicilian, so that can't be bad. And everybody knows. So this is basically a reverse accelerated dragon, but with a tempo up. And I think this helps us massively, because the Sicilian is sound even without the extra tempo. And the extra tempo means all the dangerous lines for black, where they, let's say they go bishop e6, queen d7, f6. They're not going to work as well. So even here, we kind of have to play knight c6 to stop e7. And we've got a lot of games in this line by Grandmasters, so it's a very topical line. Bishop d6, yeah, unusual. Normally they play bishop e7 or bishop b4, but it's still being played by Grandmasters like Yeah. The most latest game was in 2022 by Solomon. But yeah, it's a fairly common position. Now here, we play key move f4. So the main idea is he plays a move like bishop g4, which I think he did. We have h3. After takes. I think White is doing well. But if he plays bishop h5, which is the most logical move in terms of principles, he's got real problems with this bishop because of g4 and f5. So maybe he has to go right the way back. And if he does that, we're probably quite a bit better. Yeah, only 0.5 though. So I actually think he should have done this. After the game, he was a very friendly player. We had a discussion. We thought that he should probably play a move like this or something else, not bishop g4, because he takes here. And White has to be doing quite well, right? Actually, yeah, it's only 0.3, so maybe this isn't as good as I thought it was at the game, because during the game I thought this was way better for White. I just thought these bishops would be great. Go b3, bishop b2. So he should take on f4 now. But he doesn't. So now we've got a completely unique position. There's no master games in this anymore. But we are quite a bit better. So b3. Maybe not the best move, but he then followed it up with e4. So here, I think he needs to play either queen e7 or e takes f4. Let's say queen e7. So I guess he's got bishop a3 if I go bishop b2. Yeah, so yeah, this looks like a sort of how grandmasters would handle this as black. Yeah, and I think he's completely fine here. In the game, e4, and yeah, I actually thought that he was in trouble here. The g4, but I did miscalculate. So here, when I played g4, I actually thought this was one for White, which shows you how tricky lines can be. So I was actually going to play this move, which looks crazy, but the point is to play queen g4 check at the end and go for bishop b2. So in the dream scenario, yeah, and this obviously would just win, but in this position here, I realized after a really long thought, because king f7 is only equal. I didn't know it was equal. I actually thought maybe I was in trouble if I do this. So let's say bishop b2, queen e7. And yeah, it wants me to just do a perpetual, I think. Yeah. It's a crazy looking position, but I think I was calculating all sorts of h4 ideas, trying to go bishop h3. It doesn't quite work because king d7 to d8 just about gets away with it. So here. And I've actually run out of moves here, even though my position looks amazing. I'm actually probably worse. So we're going back. Just play bishop b2. And here he really provoked me by playing knight b4. Which, if I was going to take an e4 without bishop b2, got to take it now, surely. In this position here, I think at the game I was thinking he was going to do something like queen f6 or queen h4. I guess this isn't that great, I guess. So point is to try and be a bit clumsy if I try and go to d1 or a4. And maybe get queen to g6 next. The engine thinks after this. Maybe he's okay. It's still plus 1.6 or 7, so maybe not. So anyway, knight b4. Takes. Queen g4. Now, this is a lovely attacking position, but again, I think I miscalculated because I actually thought this was 1-4. Because we're going to get these pawns on h7 and e4, no matter what. So I'm thinking to myself, worst case scenario, we're going to enter an ending where I've got something like 4 pawns for a piece, maybe. But there should be more. After king f7, check, king e7, takes. It's getting very, very tactical. So once c6, play the game, play queen e8, check, king e6. So that's the losing move. So if he goes here, I guess I'm going bishop f5. And he apparently somehow survives us after taking, queen e6, check, and here. And apparently it's only 1.5. Yeah, it looks to me like white should be more than 1.4, but I'm guessing there's some sort of tactical thing. Maybe he can go queen g8 next move. Because obviously I'd love to play f5 here. He's got rook g8 apparently, which actually wins. So got to be a bit careful. Yeah, so that's what you should have played. In the game, queen g5, king e6, and it actually loses. So just go back here, queen g6, check, king f7, bishop h5, and yeah, just king h1. You even go king h2, but went king h1 and resigns. So that was a nice win, actually. I feel like that was more about the opening than any great play by me, but still, we took advantage. And compared to round 1, our opening was a lot sounder, and you can see that on the accuracy, actually. So the accuracy was like 98% in that game, which compared to the round 1 game was a massive difference. Okay, so now we're in round 4. Now we joined winning the tournament, actually, because there's a lot of draws happening. And we're up against Zain Patel, who's a really talented junior. Yeah, I feel like I say that a lot, but it's true. And yeah, every time I play him, he goes up about 100 points. So I seem to play him almost every single year. And every time he gets better and better and better. And this is actually the first time he's beaten me. So yeah, I think the first couple of times I played him, I beat him when he was much younger. Then last year we drew, and this time he won. So this was probably the most brutal loss I've had this year. So mainly because of the endgame position, because we should have been better, I think, or equal. It's a very interesting game. So we go into the rat defense. So we actually were able to beat an IM about a couple of tournaments ago. The Isle of Wight in this line. So I was fairly confident. This was, again, remember I said about 2 rounds a day. So this is the second round. So we're playing into something as untheoretical as black and hope to outplay the opponent. But he played it very well. So he takes. Now here, I'm not really sure what's going on. I felt like queen b3 shouldn't work. Felt like it was like asking a lot of the position to just make to try and win b7. So yeah, so the best move would have been to play knight f6 here, just sack b7 straight away. So let's have a look. So if I play this, wow. So he wasn't even threatening to take this because of knight c5. That's a really bad miss by me. I actually played knight c5 here, um, which I think is a bit silly of me. Um, yeah, to be fair, I think if I played knight f6, he wouldn't have taken on b7. He'd have probably played something like, maybe he'd have played bishop e3 or something like that. Like, I'm guessing his reasons for queen b3 were to castle queenside. But yeah, this is what I should have done. This is way better than the game. So queen c2. So his main point, I think, here is to pressurize this pawn and maybe play bishop e3, rook d1, g3, bishop g2, that sort of thing. Try and get some positional pressure. Or if I play too passively, he can. He's quite a smart player. I mean, he can. I've noticed he can switch it up. So, like, if I played something like this, he's got the capacity in him to suddenly go for bishop e3, castle queenside. So he'll change what he does based on what I do. So I took. My main idea is to get this knight to d4 or f4. I actually thought this is the sort of position I should normally do well in. I could somehow get this knight to g6 as well. That'd be great, but the main problem I have is tempo. So this knight has gone from d7 to c5 to e6, and I'm 3 moves away from castling. And he goes queen e4. And again, I remember at the board thinking, white has spent all these queen moves, and I'm not too worried about b7, because surely I should be able to get adequate counterplay just by developing. But I think that was true when it was on b3, but not now, because I took on f3, it's kind of opened up his bishops, and maybe taking on b7 is now a big threat, because I don't have a light square bishop to counter this diagonal anymore. And obviously I'm not winning the queen anymore. So knight c5, queen c6, it's just fine for him. It's way better for him, actually. So yeah, and he went for this pawn, bishop d6, and we can see he's 0.9 now. So going this way, c6, queen takes b7, and interestingly, even though I'm 2 pawns down, if I play accurately here, I should be better. So I should castle here. But in the game, I went for the wrong option. I played knight d4, which is just an error. Yeah, this is a aggressive move. I want to go knight c2. Also try and trap this queen. So bishop d3, stopping c2, and he's going to castle. Knight d7. So I'm going to try and get this knight to c5 if I can, but I'm a kind of a tempo too slow. Knight e4, castles. So I'm setting up a little bit of a trap here. If he takes on d6, then we can actually win his queen with knight c5, which is a nice little move. So he can trap it. He doesn't have to take, obviously, so he castles. And then I blunder. So I should play knight f6 here. And we've got good play, even though we're material down. These pawns here, even though there's 4 of them, they're kind of weak, and we've got a lot of tactical ideas. So this bishop on d3 can fall to some sort of knight takes f3, queen takes d3 thing in the future. Also, if he goes this way, suddenly h2 is kind of weak. So, for example, we threaten queen h4, and if g3, knight takes f3, and yeah, it can be very tricky for him. But f5 is a faulty plan. I mean, I thought if he takes here and go this, and yeah, this would be fine for me. Still not winning, but it'd be fine. But here, bishop g5 is the key move. It causes me a lot of problems. And I actually here took here, sacking the queen. Is a mistake. And he's actually winning this. I thought he'd have to go queen b4, in which case I can take this, and I think I'm doing quite well actually. No, I'm still +2, but I'd have 3 pieces for the queen. Instead he went this way. And we get this sort of crazy position. We're knight and bishop for rook and 2 pawns, sorry. And b4 takes, and here he actually offered me a draw. Yeah, so what is going on here? After this, I actually thought that I was the one pushing for the win here, which is a bit worrying. Yeah, so my idea is, after taking on f2, I've essentially just got bishop and knight for rook and pawn. White has completely okay position, and he has 25 minutes on the clock. I've got 5 minutes on the clock, so really I should be agreeing a draw here. And, would be, I was a draw on board 1, so would have been joint winning the tournament and it would have been good. But instead, I don't know, again, maybe this is just a online blitz thing, but I felt like this position should be winning for black, because I felt like if we play bishop b6, get our king in, restrict this rook, and we can slowly get this king to, say, d5, knight on d4, bishop on b6, and slowly win one of these pawns and then push. But he played a4, which I was happy to see, because I thought, that'd be good. I can get my king in and win it. But it turns out that sort of carrot there on a4 lured my king in and got him the win, because he could get his rook round. So quite smart by him. So here I'm starting to get a bit worried, because I can see the foundations of a potential loss if I'm not careful. So these 2 pawns against these 3. I still thought I should be better. So I'm just defending with the bishop. So how does he make any sort of progress here? I think bishop f6 probably, the engine thinks it's fine, but maybe not a good idea, practically. See, I'm my pieces are getting in their own way. There's no reason I could have just gone like this, kept them away, and there's no real progress from here. Yeah, so we get in this position. And it's still completely equal. And here, we need to play a move like king b6 or to take on a4. Instead, we play this terrible move. Double question mark. I could blame the fact I have 2 minutes on the clock, but I don't know. So obviously knight d6 is our threat. But it actually just loses, because he has a really nice g5 idea coming. He plays king d5 first, takes, now g5, and suddenly he's +4, because I can't really defend this, because he's going to take on f6 with the rook if I'm not careful. I takes, and yeah, he's just pushing, and just like that, lost. That's absolutely crazy. Yes, that was probably like the low point of the tournament, to be fair. Actually, no, round 6 maybe. When I thought I was losing that one. But yeah, that game. So essentially, we got into an ending where It was objectively equal. We thought we were better, but we weren't. And then we allowed ourselves to get outplayed with terrible technique. So that's not very good. Okay, so now we get to round 5, and this time we've got the white pieces, and we're up against Timothy Foster, who has quite a few games on the database, but it's round 5, so it's the morning round, which means he's probably got time to prepare against me and me against him, because they release the draw pretty much as soon as they can. So this was the morning round, which means, you know, the draw was up about, I don't know, 9 p.m. the night before. So I'm conscious my opponent probably saw that I won in the English on the previous round, or the previous couple of games ago against Simeon. And probably I felt prepared against me. So I thought he played the King's Indian quite a few times. And I was quite impressed with how he played it, actually. But I also have King's Indian in my repertoire, so I thought, let's copy a line that I myself fell to at the London Chess Classic. So I lost a game against it's Maciej Kuba from Poland, who, you know, is around 2380 FIDE, and he played this nice bishop e2, bishop e3 line against me. And he was white and I was black, and I never really got into the game that much, and it was a hardcore game, but we ended up losing it. I wanted to try it out here. So we're now in the game against Cooper. I mean, this is obviously a very topical line. I mean, you've got games by Nakamura, Grishuk, Geary, Ronian. Like, this is a very popular line. Been seen thousands of times. But in the game, it was like in my game when I was black, I think I played c6, and he got into one of these. Queen c2 takes, Queen a5, and, you know, he got into one of these crazy positions like this, which I think took with the, might have been the queen, or I can't remember which one actually. Yeah, it was interesting game, and in this one I think I got a bit confused by the move orders actually, because I presumed in my head that here I played f3, he was going to play c6 and he was just going to transpose. But actually, it's a completely different line. I need to play queen c2. So after f3, knight h5. Black has a much improved version of the main line. So this knight doesn't actually have to go to g3 and go to f4 as well. So if I play g4, which I played, it actually goes f4, not g3, which is not good for me. So I'm actually slightly worse. So I play rook h2. Main point is knight g2 is now a threat. At least I think it was a threat, but at some point, because you can take on this or this, and I don't really want to have to go bishop f1. And if I take this bishop is going to be very dangerous, especially paired with f5 coming. So I play rook h2 just to stop g2, and f5. So he's played really dynamically. He's played pretty much the best possible moves, and I think we're in trouble here actually. I mean, we're still only about 0.3 worse, but I feel like his position here is much easier to play than ours. You can just, you know, play traditional King's Indian moves, maybe play like a a5, Queen e7, Bishop d7, and he'll be just slightly better. Because I have to be really careful of all the tactics. So he does go a5, castle queenside, and he made an error here. So here, I actually thought Bishop d7 was likely. Okay, so same as the game. So here he should take on g4. takes, 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 takes. And wow, the computer thinks rook f4 is a lovely sacrifice. And it's about equal. In the game, a4. So he's just going to try and play a3. And maybe if he could open this up at some point, it'd be nice for him. I take, and I make a bit of an error, king b1. Yeah, I mean, I was conscious for king b1 that felt like this wasn't a position that needs to be too rushed because I wasn't that worried about taking on e4 by him. So I just want to maybe make my king a tiny bit safer. Stop any knight b3 ideas if I'd moved the a pawn ever. But it's actually a mistake. So instead, the engine wants me to take on c5, which makes sense. And actually, as soon as he played bishop d7, I did take on c5. So yeah. But here, now a3 gives me an edge. But I do have a problem here. If you look at the time situation, I've got 18 minutes left. He's got 47. So I've sort of fought my way out of the problems, but this is still a very precarious position because he's a solid player. He's 1954. He's got way more time on the clock. And so we play knight h3. Now here, I was really worried about queen takes h4 at some point. But it turns out f takes e4 is the move I should have been worried about. Takes, 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 and here bishop f5, bishop d3. Now I'm starting to get slightly more confident because of the g file. I'm thinking to myself, maybe I can somehow get the rooks in. But in the game, he goes a3, g2. Now here, I think he can take this. And it's probably about equal. Let's say takes, takes. Yes, king h8 maybe. And I think it's going to be about level because he's got pressure on b2. Well, I've got pressure on h7 and which opposite colored bishops going to be pretty hard to make progress. So rook a6 though is a big error. And I realized at the game, I was like, couldn't quite believe he'd played it because I can just take on c5. Which is wow, it's an error. Wants me to play rook g1 first. Okay. But we are still better. So here, you can play rook g6. So I think I missed. So after rook g6, maybe he's surviving. In the game, takes, takes, now lost for him. We got checkmate coming, so we sack this bit here. And yeah, I mean, he has his mate in 15, but the real problem he has here is there's no threats. I mean, he can't take because of rook g8 checkmate. And he doesn't really have any moves. So if he takes this rook, this ending is too much. I mean, yeah, he's going to be a knight down for nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's not going to, there's a 0% chance you're going to hold that sort of position. And when h5, and there's just checkmate coming. I mean, here, if he goes king, here I go rook checkmate. And yeah, he's just a queen down. So I don't know, he let me checkmate him in the end, but yeah. So, bit of a crazy one. But yeah, again, small margins because that game could have gone a lot of different ways. If he'd taken my knight on e4, I feel like he could have probably drawn that quite, especially with the time situation. Yeah, that put us into round 6, back in the pack, as they say. We're up against CM from France, who's 21-10. And, as you can see, there's a lot of draws and stuff happening. So, even though we're only on 3.5 out of 5, we're, on board 3. And if we win, we've got chances of winning the tournament even. So, we're up against this strong player from France. And it's the evening game. So I hoped that my opponent hadn't had time to look at my opening repertoire, because he blitzed out the first few moves, and I was a bit worried actually, because he went into this main line of the check as white for him, and yeah. But this was a very, very important game. I had to go for a win, but I was also, if my opponent had gone for a draw here, I'd have had to be professional and just gone, yeah, sure, draw, because we couldn't really afford to lose it. We're on 3.5 out of 5. And losing this would have made us very depressed, because it would have screwed our rating, would have been out of the contention for a tournament and everything. So remember, we got the exact same position that we had against in round 2. So again, this sort of bishop e3, bishop d3 thing. So if you remember, in that game, they played queen d2, but here he played h3, which, yeah, I think is much stronger than queen d2. It really asks me the question. We do have some master games in it. Bishop h5. So bishop takes f3 is the main move. Bishop h5 is a bit of an error. But the idea is that I take on f4 next move. And in this position, I actually think this was probably, looking at it now, I think this was prep by him. I think he must have looked at my games. Maybe he thought he was going to play me. And he is quite a bit better. So bishop d2, king b6. He's playing the best possible moves here. And I remember at the time thinking that I was actually okay here. Maybe castle queenside. It's a bit much. Let's have a look what the computer thinks here. Yeah, castle queenside. It's about +1 for him. So that's still worse, but it's not terrible. It's not great though. Yeah, I mean, I think I miscalculated this actually, because I felt like I had good counter chances here. I really want to play d5 at some point. Try and swap this bishop for that bishop, and maybe get this knight rerouted to g8 to e7, but I don't quite have time to do it. So I want him to push one of these, maybe, and then have space to take and go knight d5, something like that. He castles queenside, rook e8, and now he plays e5, which I don't think he needs to do. So here I think he can maybe keep the tension, maybe play rook e1 or queen g2. At some point anyway. E5. Takes. He's still better here. So I think this position, bishop e4 was necessary. So we're about, he's +1 here, but we're just about holding on. He's got bishop f5, which I didn't even see. Yeah, that looks really nice. That'd be a lovely find. And he'd be better. In the game, he played bishop e3, which is an error. But the most important thing here is his time situation. He spent a long time in this position. I'm guessing he was considering a3, maybe bishop f5, maybe. I mean, there's a lot of different things he could think of here. Even knight e4 is an idea. So he probably wanted to try and secure the win in the middle game. And so he probably could sense he was better and thought he could deliver the killing blow if he spent enough time getting the calculations right. So he went for bishop e3. Now, the idea of bishop e3 is if I do something like queen c7, maybe he can take f6. And then it gets crazy, because then I've got bishop c5, and it gets very calculated. It gets very tricky. Mainly because this rook's on this queen, but tactically he might be able to get away with it. So I should play queen a5 here. And here, it's only about plus 0.2, 0.1, because this doesn't work. But it's a crazy position, I mean, we're sacking a piece for what doesn't seem like an awful lot, but apparently just about works. So we takes. And here, he wants him to go take on d7, but can you imagine if that actually happened on the board? We'd have no idea what was going on. Anyway, back to the game. I played bishop c5, which is an error. Bishop f4. And I kind of thought that maybe he was looking for a draw here. I know it sounds crazy, but I thought if I played this, there's a chance he was going to play this move. And particularly with his time situation, maybe it was going to be a perpetual, We just repeat the moves. I play bishop c5, he played bishop f4, maybe a draw. Didn't happen that way though, because I played bishop b4, and took, and yeah, I miss how strong this is. So I completely missed this move, queen c4. To me, this is a real cruncher. Yeah, this is just nasty for black. I thought I was lost now. I couldn't see anything. I think in my head, when I was back here, I was thinking that in this position, sorry. I think in my head, I was thinking in this position, I could play knight d5. Obviously, rook takes d5 just wins the knight nice and easy. Yeah, and this is just lost. Now, bearing in mind, I'm on 3.5 out of 5, so we lose this, we're screwed. So his position is completely won. A knight g8, which is a horrible looking move. Takes, knight e7, and he's +4 here. So this is the point where at the board we're very depressed here. We think we've wasted our time in this tournament. We've lost. We're going to lose loads and loads of points. We'd be on 3.5 out of 6 after losing this, and we've just been taken apart, dismantled in our own pet line of the checkbook. It wouldn't get much worse than that, right? Because we'd also lose loads of FIDE points. We'd already screwed up the rapid a bit, and not good. So the only thing we have going for us here in this position is this F file. Could be quite weak, and this bishop and knight, they're kind of all on the same file. So if we could somehow engineer a rook on f8, if it was our move, it would be great. We'd just play rook f8. So we need to try and use that somehow. And he's got 10 minutes left, and we've got 12 minutes left. So we somehow need to create counter chances. But the problem is it's his move, not ours. So here he can just play I mean, he can do a lot of things, let's be honest. He can play knight d2, which I didn't even see at the game. I was expecting e6, really. That looked like the sort of forcing move. The knight d2, I didn't consider because I thought after here I'd win the bishop. He can actually just play knight c4, which is a nice little tactic. So knight d6 is coming, or if I take, he's got e6 at the end, I think, actually. I mean, he's even got this. I mean, this is lovely. Look at this. You just sack the queen. I mean, this would be. I actually think this should. If he did this move, I think he'd deserve best game prize because it's such a crusher. So he basically sacked his queen, but he's going to take, or knight's going to come in. It's a beautiful win if he'd found this. But I mean, he could also just play e6 straight away, and knight c5. Maybe I'm trying to play knight a4, but it's still, it's not working for me really. Knight e5. The engine thinks he's great. But in the game, he played queen c4, and I remember thinking, wow, maybe I'm okay here. Maybe I've got a chance to swindle a draw or something here because this f-file, if I remember, was saying, now that he's gone back to c4, I don't have to be as worried about the tactics on my king with all its e6 stuff. And if I could somehow get my knight to d5 and my knight on c5 somehow, obviously I can't play it straight away because of rook takes d5, but if I could somehow play get both of them in somehow, maybe I'm okay. So queen c5 is an idea I could also try. So if I play this now, yeah, I think this would have been a good idea. Or maybe knight c5. But the engine wants queen a5. Oh, so now knight d5 is coming. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. So knight d5 would be coming. So I played rook f8. So the idea was to just go on this f-file, which is his weak point. Is I guess Achilles heel, but he's got e6 here. But he doesn't find it. He plays passively because he's only got 7 minutes left. Rook f1. Now queen c5. Could have played queen a5 still. I didn't. Now, why did I play queen c5 here? I actually miscalculated the strength of this position. I thought this was quite good for black. I actually thought when I played it, I've got 7 minutes left, but I actually thought this position would be quite hard for white. I thought knight d5 is coming. So, in my head, I thought he's going to play something like this, and I was going to go knight d5, and I thought, yeah, this would be nice. I'd go knight d4, I'd go knight f4, maybe, this would be fine, but turns out it's not as good as I thought. So he played bishop e3, knight e4. Now knight g5, good move. Takes. Rook e1. And we're getting to a stage now where we're playing with, 2 minutes on the clock here, and I'm on 7 minutes, so it's getting a bit crazy. So I played b6, which is a bit of a lame move. It's not one of the best moves. I wanted to play knight d5. But I started to see demons here. I thought we could maybe push this pawn up. Maybe you can go bishop c5. But yeah, b6, I'm just cutting out any bishop c5 ideas. And hopefully in the future play c5 and try and get my knights in. Knight e6, rook f3. Bishop g5. Knight d5. Now here, I think he should just play h4. Expecting that sort of thing, or if not h4, the engine wants rook h1, then h4, h5. We played blunder here, so c4, which, yeah, suddenly he's not better anymore. And so, yeah, he's still holding, but I think practically speaking, now I think black is actually I prefer black now, practically, because these knights are so strong together. And this rook can come to e5, win the pawn if he moves this rook away. Also, we have ideas of just pushing our pawns. And yeah, I think this is quite tricky for white, actually. Because the bishop, maybe it has to go to d2, trying to defend everything. He goes rook f1. And after rook e4, we're actually... It's amazing how fast this position collapses for white. So check. And we're -3 here. We're just going to push this pawn. And there's very little he can do. I mean, we're threatening just checkmate here. So knight d3 and d1, knight c3 is checkmate. So he goes check, check. Bishop e2, c3, and he resigned. I mean, how crazy is that? When the position completely collapsed for him within a really short amount of time. He's equal here. And then within 5-6 moves, it's completely lost. But what a huge swing that is. To go from, being on 3.5 out of 6, it would have been. And if we'd lost that, 3.5 out of 6, we'd have lost loads of video points going to the last round on a low. Who knows what would happen? I'd have probably played, one of these juniors here, like Nayan, instead we win. And because there was a draw on board 1, and that set us up where we could actually win the tournament. We're suddenly on 4.5 out of 6 with the white pieces, and we got every chance of winning the tournament and getting a British place, actually. So yeah, so now we're into round 7. And we're up against Russell White, who has been having a very good tournament. So I'm half point behind Alistair Hill, who's winning the tournament. And it's also worth noting that the winner of this tournament gets some sort of British place as well as the prize money. So it was interesting. Also, the guy on board 1, who's Alistair Hill's playing, is the guy I beat in round 4 or 3. And yeah, he's also having a great tournament. And so yeah, it was all to play for on pretty much every board. And if you look at some crazy results, we can see that Richard Bates lost on board 3, which was shocking to me. But I think Ali Hill was on 5 out of 6. And me and Simeon, Bott, and Russell White were on 4.5 out of 6. Something like that. And so it was all to play for here. And I'm white against this guy. And people told me that he was a very underrated player. And basically, he's one of them that doesn't play much FIDE chess. He's an adult, but he doesn't play much FIDE chess. So his national is close to 2200. Now, to give you some context, my national rating is like 2270. My FIDE is 2160 odd. And, you can see FIDE's there. So he's probably better than his FIDE. He's having a very good tournament. But at the same time, I felt like I could push for a win against him because for the white pieces. And yeah, I mean, he's another player that always plays e5 against c4. And he plays online. And I did notice, because this was the morning game. This final day, this was the Monday, Easter Monday. And I noticed when I quickly looked online the night before, I saw he plays a lot online, but he's a lot lower rated than me online. Not that that always matters, but I noticed pretty much 100% of his games as black against c4, he plays e5. And when he plays against Sicilian as white, he goes into open Sicilian. Well, not, yeah, open. Well, he plays open lines against the Sicilian. Sometimes he plays people who play bishop c4, 4d4 and stuff. But I felt like this was a sort of position we'd be good at, and it'd give good chances for us to push for a win. And he played the Karpov. This is quite a nice line for black. D6. So essentially, black just is playing really solid chess. I do think he should play d5 at some point, maybe even now. There's a line where you can take, play knight b4. So you got knight d3 or take on d5. I personally think that would be more suited to his style. But he plays this way, and again, much like my game against Simeon Bott, he played bishop g4. Which again, I don't like this for white. I'm sorry, for black. Sorry, I think he's in trouble because if you go here, yeah, g4 f4 is very strong. So if we can get g4 and f4 in here, I think he's in a lot of trouble. The only thing to worry about here is, yeah, if he can somehow take this, but I don't think it works. Takes, and now we just f3. Queen e1, queen g3 probably coming to save us. And he's just worse here. But if he doesn't, let's say he goes bishop g6. I think we can play this move. Takes. Now f4. And yeah, I think this is just... I think I've had this position before online actually. I think black just gets crushed. I mean, he might be able to. It might only be +2, but you're gonna have to play very well to survive this because f5 is just so annoying. So let's say you play h5, f5, bishop here. I mean, bishop g5 appeals to me. I mean, it's only the. I mean, apparently we can play a4 here, but bishop g5 would appeal to me because he can never play. I mean, it's just going to be there forever. And as soon as the queen moves out, he's going to take on f6. And this bishop on h7. So let's say he played this. I mean, this bishop on h7 is going to do what? It's just so nasty. So in hindsight, here, I mean, if black has to play something like here, then the real question is why did we even play bishop g4 in the first place? Because I feel like h3 is a useful move for white. So he takes. I spent some time here thinking about knight takes e2. I think they're about this. Yeah, they're about the same. a5, d3. And here I think black has a real issue with getting cramped. And I think, practically speaking, my opponent doesn't do well in these type of positions. From what I saw of his games, he likes open attacking chess. He plays e4 as white. He tries to play open lines. And so a position like this where he has to play really passive just to hold these two bishops in, it's not going to suit him. So play f4. So I'm going to try and just play rook f1, knight d5, try and get something going on the king side. And this rook on b8 looks really, these pawn moves, they're not really helping. So knight d4, which I think is a mistake. I mean, I could just play queen d3 here, right? Yeah, knight e6. I mean, this is what I was looking at. Something like this. Yeah, still about +2. But queen f2 is fine as well. Knight e6, rook f5. So the problem he has here is, if you guys sound like this, he lacks a threat. So I don't really regard knight takes a1 as a big threat. So I can even just leave it. I mean, if he wants to take it, he can, but he's in risk of getting checkmated on this side. G4, G5, even knight D5 here. because this pawn is so exposed. Having this extra rook doesn't really help him when a checkmate's coming. So yeah, c6. Now I made a blunder. So here, I just play rook f1. I think I'm better. But I also was considering, in this position, taking. I'm not sure if it's good. But I did think, because obviously he can't really take with a pawn, so he's going to get checkmated. So this bishop will come out. So takes the queen. Now here, I spent quite a while calculating this position. So apparently it's about +2. If I'd known that, I would have played it. Yeah, this is. I just thought that maybe he could sack this rook on e8. But the more I look at it, the more hopeless it looks for him. I was thinking king f8. Guess I could take with a bishop. Let's have a look. Takes. Now c6. Yeah, so this would just be very nice and easy for me to play. So instead, rook f5, c6, knight a4. So what I'm just trying to do here is take on f6 and open up this bishop. But he found this quite nice tactic. And here I was actually worried about knight e5. Yeah, which is the best move actually. So yeah, here I've got some slight tactical issues with this rook. So I need to lose my nice bishop. Maybe after this. I mean, clearly I'm still a pawn up, plus 1.3. But if he's going to hold an ending or whatever, this is the way he should do it. Maybe he can play rook f8. Maybe he can play queen d3 or queen d6. Maybe he can just about hold for a while anyway. Gives him more of a chance than in the game. But here he played bishop a7, which doesn't really. So I'm not sure if I was going to take this anyway. So I don't really want to have trades and to get his knights out. So rook f1, rook e7, h4. H4's a kind of. I was a bit confused about what to do. I'm down to 14 minutes. I'm just worried about knight g5 at some point because I want to play bishop e4 here. And knight g5 at some point can be very annoying for me. But anyway. Again to this. Of course, objectively, I think it's just lost for black. And we ended up bailing into an ending. But, he's 3 pawns down. It's not going to happen for him. And the rest, now he resigned because it's going to go king takes, bishop d4, and nothing he can really do. So yeah, that win got us to second outright. Alistair Hill, who had a really good tournament, 23-32 performance, won it. So well done to him. It was interesting that with a 7-round event, I didn't ever get a chance to play him. With the way he's playing, though, I'm guessing probably good for us that we didn't play him because he'd probably beat us. So these were the final results this is the final cross table. Now I thought Simeon did very well. Robert Ames, a veteran FIDE master, also recovered to win his final few games. I was a bit surprised Zain Patel sort of fell away in the final 2 rounds. I thought he was going to win a tournament, to be fair, when he beat me, because I thought he's such a talented player. But yeah, I think some of the shots, Richard Bates had a disappointing event for him. I'm guessing the CM from France, by his standards, probably a bit disappointed with that, finishing on 3.5 in the end. Especially as if he'd beaten me that game, he'd have been on, what, 4.5 or something, just out of 6. So, so yeah, he sort of fell away at the end as well. Probably so disappointed at not beating me. So let's run through the rapid play, which was the day before the main event, which was really disappointing for us because we were winning it quite easily. We still came joint third, but yeah, so let's have a little run through the games actually. So round 1 here, we were up against Adita Saxena, who's junior. So we went for this Catalan. Actually, I remember at the board, actually, when I asked here, he stopped the clocks and said that I castled wrong, which I was a bit surprised by. He said, you touched your rook with the other hand as you castled. And the arbiter gave him an extra minute, so that's why his time goes up. I remember being quite focused at this point. I was like, well, this guy, I really wanted to be this guy because, yeah, I got a feeling he'd do anything to win. Thankfully, in the end, it was quite comfortable because he just blundered this tactic on e5. So really, he shouldn't play d4. He should play e5 or something like that. Yeah. I mean, really, it's just resignable here. So everyone's rating is lower in Rapid for some reason. I think because most players, like, I haven't played a Rapid tournament for 3 years. Probably should play more of them. So round 2. So we're second seed for this tournament, actually, even with our low rating. So we're up against new player. This time we're black this time. And we play this in rat opening with d6, e5. I was kind of worried he's going to take this, but he didn't. So here, we're slightly better, but it's not. It gets a bit crazy because we've got to be really careful here. He doesn't have bishop a4 at the end of e4. I thought here, maybe he could take on d3. Maybe not. Maybe he can get knight. Yeah, knight e6 maybe. Anyway, it's very tactical. And, you know, I think it was quite a balanced game. I actually quite enjoyed this game, actually. I thought it was very creative and fun. But we came out on top here. And yeah, he just resigned because he lost the exchange with that tactic. So that was quite good. And then we got into round 3. So now we're starting to get to the really strong players. And I was playing Gavin Hughes, who's nearly 1900. So we went for b3, just get out of theory. And I did this g4 idea. Now, you remember, I actually played this in slow play against Chian Ward in the first round of the Isle of Wight. So in the other Road to FM series, you can see that. I remember it's only, it's minus 0.5, so it's not great, but in a rapid play again, so it's like, I think it's very difficult, practically speaking, for black to deal with just this pressure on b2 to g7. And yeah, he went wrong straight away with h6, but then so did I, so it's interesting. I thought g5 must be the move, but yes, not. Okay, so he wants d4 or h3. I'm really surprised g5 is so bad. It was quite a logical move, but I guess not. So here he actually played d5. So yeah, I'm just trying to go for an attack. Got this sort of pressure on this knight, so f7. Let's go bishop g2, maybe castle, all this sort of stuff. Pushes me back a bit. And so we make a blunder here. See what the engine thinks I should do. So the engine wants me to castle queenside. I think I was a bit worried here that knight b4 at some point could be a problem. Let's have a look. So d3 just stops it. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense actually. It's d3. Okay, so the game, we actually ended up playing e4. After bishop g6, knight d5, he can take, takes, and here he can take my knight, and wow, that's some great tactics. So I'm guessing he takes on d2 if I take on c6. Is that correct? Yes, if I take here, he takes. Oh no, I can still take. He's got e4 at the end. Okay, so I have to take on g5. Now knight b4, and he's better. He's a lot better. Yeah, my position's falling apart here actually. He's going to take this pawn, and if I castle this side, he can take this pawn at some point. So I play bishop g2. He just goes knight d3. A4. I guess he can just move his queen out here. Yeah. So could have easily lost this one. But in the game, he didn't play that. He played knight d4, which is a mistake. See, one of my main plans in this position is to try and do some sort of bishop b5 idea. So here I want to play this bishop here, b5, go knight c7 at the end, win the queen. So he stops it. Now he's got some tactical issues. But I still think he's holding, so I can't see any way through. Can he maybe bishop f6, king e7? I think he's okay. Game goes on. We're in time trouble now. It's a bit crazy. And yeah, I think now we've won because bishop b1 is very strong. But I think here, I think he can play. Yeah, he can take b1, but so he has to find this crazy move and go rook g6, try and go on. Yeah, but objectively, it's still lost. So this is apparently winning. Yeah, rook v rook and bishop. In the game, queen d7, lost. We're just going to go checkmate, d7 or f7. Yeah, so that was quite a nice win. Okay, round 4. So me and FM are both winning the tournament. Now I played a check perk as black. And we go into this line. Now, some of you that have watched the entire thing will know that this is the same position that I had against the CM in the slow play. So I think what's happened is CM has watched this game and improved on it. And that's why it's in the game. He played this way, and I should be okay here. So this knight d5 is a thematic idea. The idea is if I take on here, he can win the game on the spot with take on e7 check. King out, then takes g6, then rook takes e1 at the end. He's a piece up. So I have to go back. And after taking this, he's now got the bishop pair, so he should be a tiny bit better. And the way he played it was very good. So here I just need to play like rook e8. Instead I sacked a piece. Which in the game it worked out, but it wasn't very smart. So you can take g5. My idea here is that I can probably take d4 coming, and in a rapid game I thought I'd have plenty of chances So his king looks a little exposed, and he starts to go wrong. I played g5. In the game, I actually thought I was doing well now. And after rook g3, I am. He's actually got a really good move here, actually, queen g3. And point is, after this ending is actually very good for him. This move is he's just winning for him, really. That's 1.7, he's going to just be the exchange up and an ending, so should do that. In the game, rook g3 takes queen f2, and suddenly, suddenly I'm the one winning. Just actually made a mistake here. Queen e4, a very bad move. King h7 just wins, but I play queen e4. Bear in mind we've gained time trouble. Takes g5, check. And we get some nice checkmate net here with knight f3. Go rook g1 next, after king h1. Or he has to go like this, and this is, yes, hopeless. So, at this point we're on 4 out of 4, and I've actually played all the top players in terms of rating. So really, we should be happy days. We're a point clear, because my opponent here is on point less than us, and he's lower rated than me. So really, I'm on 4 out of 4, point clear from the field. How can we possibly not win, yeah? So we go into this, which is like just, this is just an untheoretical Larsen variation with an early taking on c6 idea coming. If he doesn't do anything, because I can maybe take knight e5. Anyway, I'm actually playing for a win here. But it's about equal. So we just push, takes. And I actually thought here that I was better, but I'm not. It's only 0.0. I'm not sure why, but I felt like this queen could come in at some point. Felt like this structure was quite solid, whereas his was could be exploited. This pawn is obviously a hanging pawn. Plus these knights look really uncoordinated. So if one of them moves, like say knight e7, we've got knight e5 come. But it turns out he's absolutely fine. He's got some tactical resources. So knight a5, then suddenly they start working together. H4 is a bit of a mistake. Knight e5. Now I think I'm starting to really misplay the position. I've got 4 minutes left and I'm unsure what to do, because this pawn looks weak. This pawn looks weak as well, but how do I actually take advantage of it? Do I have to play me like knight e5, which I did? And we go into here. So we've got some pressure on d5 and we're actually winning. So we've managed to outplay him. And we've got 40 seconds on our clock. He's got 1 minute, 40 seconds. And at this point, everyone's watching this game, which is a bit distracting. You know, you've got like little kids walking around watching and stuff. And yeah, it was the last game to finish in the round. And I kind of wish they weren't. We started to really misplay the position. But we're still about equal. Now we're getting to the ending. And here, this should be drawn. So 4 pawns v4. My pawns are coming up, his pawns are coming up. There's no reason I can't play a move like, well, I mean, even just king moves here. I mean, how is he going to get through? I just play king d2 to c3. He's got no way to go through. If he ever moves the rook out, I'm going to take this pawn. And if he moves his king to b5, let's say, then I'm going to play f6, and then these pawns are going to win the game. So really, what should happen here is king d2, king e7, king c3, king d6, and probably a draw agreed or something like that. Anyway, in the game, we went like this. And here, I can just play king f4. The king can't actually get to these pawns, but I made this mental mistake with 40 seconds left where I thought my king would come in and win all these pawns. I think I was calculating I could just push these. His king would go take them. My king would come in, I'd take, and it'd be a draw. And yeah. So we got into this position, rook a5. I missed rook a5. For some reason I thought here he was going to play this. Which then it would be a draw, but rook a5. Now here, we screwed up. We screwed up badly. So we have to play king f5. This is a table-based draw. You can see. And there's not really anything he can do or I can do. It's just draw. Instead, I go king d6. I don't know why I did that. I think I thought in my head I can go king b6 and then king c6 and win these pawns somehow. But it turns out here you can just do this again. And after this, d8 takes. This is not an equal ending. This is a one ending for him. And yeah. So yeah, that's a brutal loss. Okay, so now there's 3 people on 4 out of 5. And we're going to the last round. And the problem is that everyone's played each other. So Robert Ames beat the guy I just lost to. Now I beat Robert Ames. So it's like a triangle. So now Gavin Hughes played the guy I just lost to. I'm playing the young girl, Lam Nayan, who very talented young player who's played in the main FIDE Open, did very well, gained a lot of points, and Robert Ames plays Stephen Warwick. Oh, sorry, Wedlock. And here, so we played the Czech pug, and I'm playing for a win. I'm really annoyed at myself for losing the game before, so playing for a win at all costs, which is never a good idea in a FIDE rated game. You notice there's only rapid play. You should never do that because it actually costs me here. So we go in this position, it's about equal. And here, I knew I should play knight d7. Now the engine thinks they're about the same, but I knew her plan. She was kind of, she's so young, she's probably like maybe about 9 years old. I could tell she was going to play queen g3 and take on g7 against pretty much anything. And what I actually wanted to do here was I wanted to tempt her into taking into that plan because I thought that was a losing plan. But if I do knight d7, I'm pretty sure she'd have played this anyway. And after this, I think she'd have gone and taken this, and I think I'd have been able to win quite easily. So I think this is what would happen in the game, almost certainly, just from the way she plays. And yeah, in the game, after this, less clear. So she actually still, because she's going for the pawns, she's going to grab every material she can. Knight g3. So my idea here is to win this rook. Got bishop h2, we've got bishop g1, which is a nice tactic. And here, she actually hovered her hand over this pawn, over the board. She was just about to take this pawn. If she takes it, it goes bishop f2, won the game, and won the tournament. Instead, she stopped, fought for a bit, clicked on a6, takes. So suddenly it gets a bit tactical. Now here, we actually should take the rook, and takes. It gets very crazy. But here I went rook g8, trying to go for a win. d6, queen e6, takes. Again here, she only really has one move. I think she was going to play this move for a while, which, she was hovering her hand over it, and I was expecting her to play it, and then queen b6 obviously wins very nicely. And yeah, in the end, rook d1, takes, and here, takes. This is draw, right? Look, 0.0. It's just going to be a perpetual king c8, queen e8. But I'm very conscious of the fact that this guy's won, and this guy's won. So we want to win a tournament, and I'm playing someone who's like 200 less, and we went crazy. Played king d6, loses. e5, king c5, which is even worse, and we went into mate in 1. Obviously here we should play king b6, but we play king b6, you'd probably find this, yeah. And yeah, it'd be checkmate anyway. Yeah, just king d6 is a very unprofessional move. Really, you should play like this. And if they draw, And at least then you don't lose the FIDE points. Which, not too bored about rapidly, but not smart. Not smart at all. Yeah, so in the end, joined third. So overall, very enjoyable event. Lot to learn on. Endings. Also, you saw in a rapid, needs to be more professional in drawn positions where I'm against underrated or lower rated players, accept the draw type thing. So yeah, it was a nice event to play. Well done to Ali Hill for winning the main tournament, and thank you. Anyone that's managed to watch the entire thing here, you're a legend. Cheers.